Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled Old Dude Won't Pay Because He Wants a Discount. So I work in a fishing shop in Poland, and I'll tell you guys, the absolute NPCs I meet are just amazing. A few days ago an older man comes in at the same time that my usual customer comes in. Here it's a custom to say, good morning, or at least hi or a head bob, to greet people as a sign of respect. It's kinda rude to ignore it a hello. Both men came in at the same time, so I told them both, good morning, got an answer from the usual, nothing from the old man. But I paid no mind to it. My usual gets everything he needs and spends about $140, so I give him a discount since he only had $160 and still needed to buy some groceries. So I sold the gear to him for $120, because he comes in every week and spends about that much. He leaves happy, and old dude suddenly starts grabbing a few things before coming back to the register. Old dude, since you have him such a great discount, I'm guessing I'll get one too. That's why I grabbed a few more things. So what's my discount gonna be? I look at what he got, it totaled at around $60. Me. Sir, I can't give you a discount on these items. There's usually a small discount at any purchase at or over $100. And the discount the other customer got was just because he comes every week and needed more money for groceries. But tell you what, I'll knock off 50% off the most expensive item you have here, 2 kilograms of carp bait worth $50. If you promise to come back, I said with a smile that quickly faded. Old guy. What kind of business are you running then? You don't get to pick and choose who you give discounts to. Give me a much better price or I'm not doing any shopping here anymore. Matter of fact, I ain't buying this crap. I took a few seconds to process what just happens and then he slides his hand across the counter, knocking down everything. That caused one of the 2 kilograms carp bait bags to burst and out spilled a bunch of 2mm pellets all over the store. And one of the liquid attractors spilled as well, leaving the store smelling like bloodworms, not exactly a good smell. I told him he needs to pay for the products he broke. I got a firm, duck you, I ain't paying crap, slaps the table. So I tell him I have this all recorded on store cameras, and will take this to police if necessary. And I can access the parking lot's cameras to see which car he got out of, so I will have his plate numbers. Suddenly a magical change of heart. Old guy. Alright, fine, I'll pay for the attractor and pellets, so that's 25 for the pellets and 5 for the attractor. Me. No. That's 50 for the pellets and 10 for the attractor. Old guy. Where's the discount? It was supposed to be half price. Please give me a better price, I'm sorry for what I did, so quit being a brat about it. Please do me this favor, you don't have to be a dick kid. Me. That discount was only for the pellets, and now it's 50 and 10 for the attractor. The discount left as fast as your manners did. Pay up or the police will handle things. He kept giving me half-added apologies while also calling me a dick, and pleading with me for 10 minutes, but I wasn't having it. I'm only friendly and treat people with respect, if they respect me. He ended up paying full price, and still comes back quietly and in shame because our prices are the best in town. Moral of the story, take the discount and don't throw a fit. The next story is titled Brides Wants Me to Create Her Entire Wedding Art for Exposure. Okay, this happened a few years ago, but I thought you all might get a kick out of this. Back when blogs were the bomb and the Book of Faces was not as popular as they are today. A bride wanted me to create her wedding art. In the past, she had purchased a few things from me before she had gotten engaged. Some small paintings, signs, fun stuff. When she would come to my studio to pick up the work, we would chat. I'm super friendly. We would chit-chat a bit, exchange money for art, and then she would go on her way. That is it. For her wedding art she had big grandiose plans. She wanted wedding signs, table centerpieces, gifts for the wedding party, gifts for her parents and in-laws, gifts for her guests. Roughly 100 people for a big old barn wedding. 20 bridal party people. Then her family and in-laws were another 8 people in total. She would also like a big painting of the barn she is getting married in for her home. Thomas Kincaid style. With the wedding date on the art piece, naturally. Roughly 30 by 46. If not bigger. She had the wall space for it. She really did like my art. Oh, and she would like me to do this all for the exposure of the event. No money. Just exposure. Tra-la-la-la-la-la. Yup. She was a PR person, so her big plan was to blog the entire wedding process. Oh, to hear her tell it was going to be fabulous. And in depth and behind the scenes of the wedding of the decade, which would include her finding the dress, exercise program for her and the bride maids, moving in with her fellow, getting a dog. Me making art for the wedding, her mother and father coming together after a painful divorce for her wedding, blah blah blah. Seriously, she was looking at a tab of maybe $8,000 of work out of me, and I was going to be a blurb on a blog of her wedding extravaganza. The dog was going to get its own page. She blew a fuse when I declined. I mean, exposure is nice, but paying the light bill is nicer. She had a big ol' bride meltdown too. Cried, wailed, screamed and snarled. At one point she made that sound a tea kettle does when it's ready. I don't know how she did that. But it was impressive. Not to be defeated, she had her mommy call me, had daddy call me, had sister call me. All screamed at me for denying her my art and time. I don't think anyone had ever said no to her before. See, can you get to the age of 25 and not hear the words no? I know I sure did not. For a while there I thought no was my first name. I told them in short to F off, but you know I said it all mean professional like. They pestered me for about a month before they finally took the hint. I never blocked them, I just let them rant to my voicemail. Drove them even crazier. She did invite me to the wedding though. Ah, how sweet. No +1 though, ceremony only, no reception. Then she told me I could make her the centerpieces and the large painting as her gift. Yeah, a loophole. Lucky me. I passed, sent nothing as a gift. We are not friends. I'm not going to her dingbat wedding. Thanks. But, if I was to be honest, I kind of wanted to go. I did. I really wanted to dress in my art studio ripped jeans, t-shirt outfit. You know, the crap that if my mom saw me wear she would tell me I looked like a hobo. Then, once she saw me I had this dream of handing her a $5 gift card to Starbucks while I cracked a beer and walked away. But she wasn't worth the gas to get to the ceremony. Why bother? Much better to just stay home. In the end, I heard about 50 people showed up to the wedding as she and her family was driving everyone nuts. It also rained on her wedding day too, big fat rain too. The run to your house deluge kind. Not all day but enough it made the barn leak a bit. So it was a muddy gross day that was unseasonably cold to boot. That must have been fun to hang in with a cash bar. Huh? I never checked her blog out. A mutual acquaintance said it was a single page with a few pictures. Not nearly the fantastic real-life exposé of a young bride I was promised. Think more like school project that you got a C for. The acquaintance also told me the wedding photographer was a no-show because she did not pay them in advance. Yes, she asked for a discount too. She never paid the upfront fees, so the photographer cancelled on the event. The entire ceremony was recorded by the guests' iPhones. I think they were iPhones. They were the early video phones for sure. Oh, and you will love this, she asked for a discount from the caterer because only half the people showed up. So, I guess she felt like only paying half for the food? I'm not sure how that worked out in her mind. She didn't get that, of course. I know the caterer. She was paid in advance and she does not do refunds. She will also not give you the time of day if you annoy her. I like her. The bride was divorced within a year. Hubby left her for one of her friends. I think she was one of the bridesmaids? Don't quote me on that. All I know is she came home to the dog and all of his stuff gone. He also took my art with him. You know, the stuff she had purchased from B before she got engaged. Haha, I guess they both liked me? It has been years since the big wedding. My days of doing wedding art are long behind me as I now sell in galleries and such. She still calls me from time to time for art. She hears the price I quote and then offers me half. The other half will go to a paid promotion on social media. I decline. She is marked in my phone as, "Do not answer." The next story is titled "My Parents Took My Neighbor's Property." Backstory. This happened in the 1990s. My parents own a 40-acre farm in the middle of nowhere. After 5 years, the trailer next door that was on 2.5 acres went up for sale. The dogs were put in a pen to go outside when the new neighbors were moving in. The wife, when she came up the driveway, the dogs went nuts and wanted to tear into her. Our dogs are not violent, but we came later to understand why. My mom, being the nice southern lady that she is, went next door to introduce herself and wanted to know more about the new neighbor. It all seemed well until the wife asked who owned the field behind her house. Mom bashfully replied that it was hers and my dad's. After that, the conversation got awkward and Mom excused herself. A couple of weeks later, Mom and Dad were coming home from shopping and found 3 kids no older than 7 all over our farm equipment. Mom and Dad chased them off to the neighbor house. My mom went over and asked why those kids were over there. They found out it was the neighbor's grandchildren. When Mom told her that they needed to stay away from the farm equipment because one of them will get hurt, she said, "I don't care if. I want that field one way or the other," pointing to the field behind her house. Mom and Dad immediately called the sheriff and an attorney to find out what they could do to protect themselves. They both said that they needed no trespassing sign every 100 feet if possible, especially where the equipment is normally stored and around the property. When Mom and Dad did that, the signs around the property were disappearing. One time as Mom was coming down from a tree to put it high up to where they had to come on the property to get it down, a gun blast hit the sign above her head, and off in the distance was the wife yelling smugly, "Oops. I guess my gun went off accidentally." Things cooled down only when my brother came home on weekends from college to watch the house. Plus, my parents made their schedule more random during the week, so the neighbors didn't know if anyone was there or not. However, they were still causing problems like small things disappearing from our yard and them saying that it must be some druggie looking to steal anything for drugs. It was so bad at one point in time that Mom and Dad asked if they could buy their property. The property was worth $50,000 at the time. My parents offered $60,000. The wife said, "Sure, you can buy property at $250,000. Take it or leave it." Even my parents' property at the time was not worth that much, so they left it. However, it took a turn for the better 2 years after the offer. The husband wanted a divorce from his wife. This was a grand total of 4 years of dealing with her. Side note, the husband never met my parents until he moved out a week prior. He said his wife told him that my parents, especially my mom, were crazy and for his safety needed to stay away from them after my mom's initial visit. When he finally found out that his wife was the one that was crazy, he left her. About a month after that, the husband came back talking about how the divorce was going and wanted to know if they were interested in the property. They told him about the offer 2 years ago and he said he never heard about it, nor about his grandchildren coming over hoping that one of them would get hurt, but it didn't surprise him. When we told him how much we offered, he said, "The divorce attorney said that the sale of the house will be split 50-50. I don't care if you offer a nickel just to spite her." A week after that, the wife came to my parents' house asking if they were willing to buy at the $60,000 they offered initially. Mom and Dad said that they will buy it at what the appraiser will say it is worth. Because of the depreciation of the trailer and because the wife didn't take care of the trailer, it was appraised at $40,000. Mom was ready to be spiteful and offer $30,000, but Dad disagreed and said that would be a good restart for a guy that had to live through this for all those years. The next story is titled, "I Missed My Return Train, Refund My Entire Trip." I work at the reservation desk, customer service in an amusement park, so I'm used to deal with all kinds of choosing beggars. But this one really got everyone in the office enraged. This summer, a Monday morning, the phone rang. My colleague picked up the phone with the usual, "X Park, I'm X, how can I help you?" My desk is right in front of hers, so I could see the smile on her face slowly disappear. Here is what happened. The lady on the phone had booked 2 tickets for our park, which costs in total €50,000 for 2 adults, $59,000. She had come the previous Saturday and had enjoyed her visit. However, when she and her guest decided to leave the park, they realized they had missed the last train to their return destination. So the lady had to call a cab, and told us she had to pay €100,000, $118, to go back home. She was furious, and asked us to refund her tickets and her cab ride. Of course, my colleague told her it was impossible. She had already visited the park, validated the tickets, and spent the day there. We are a small amusement center and due to the current pandemic restrictions we can only welcome 1,000 visitors a day. But still, it is in no case our responsibility to make sure our guests don't miss their bus, train. We don't have any shuttle from the train station to the park as it is a 3 minutes walk from there. So after politely explaining why we would not refund her tickets, the lady was still going on and on about being refunded, at least for her cab expenses. It was ridiculous, and after 15 minutes on the phone, my colleague finally hung up. She was exhausted, and the lady had insulted her with every word in the dictionary. She took a long break outside before she could calm down and take other calls. The next day, the lady called again. This time, it was a student doing part-time job in our center that replied. The lady was of course awful to her, and the poor girl was distraught and on the verge of tears. This awoke my mama bear instinct, and I told our student to give me the phone. I politely told the lady off because it was none of our problem. I had all the difficulties in the world to stay polite, but kill them with kindness, as they say. Then I offered hot chocolate to my poor student who was doing a very nice job, but had the misfortune to fall on the worst customer ever encountered in our center. 2 to 3 days later, our boss gets an email from the Office of Consumer Protection. The lady had called them and said we were disrespectful, called her a liar, and laughed at her face. Our customer services were terrible, and it was the worst she had even been treated in her entire life. My colleague and myself were disgusted. My colleague had been nothing but apologetic and polite to that lady who was just screaming at her for 15 minutes. Same thing with my student and myself. Our boss was scared of the repercussions, and sent an email to the lady. He offered her a free entry for the inconvenience plus free meal at the park. Even though we had done nothing wrong. Later that day, the lady replied to the email, unhappy again. She said she would not use only one free entry. I have 3 children and my husband, so we need at least 5 tickets plus 5 meals, and the guarantee we will be able to come and go back home after the visit. This time, my boss was enraged. He told her to take the free entry or take nothing, and he didn't care what the impact will be. He enclosed the Office of Customer Protection to the email, as well as corporate. We heard nothing more of it for a while, and our boss told us to blacklist her phone number and email address. Sometimes after, the boss told us corporate had just let him know the lady had been permanently banned from the park. She had been very rude to them as well. She menaced them to call her lawyer and so on. This whole thing was just totally ridiculous. The nerve of some people. The next story is titled Pretending Not to Understand the Sign of a CB. Hey guys, for context, I'm from Singapore, and it's a very rare occurrence to see a homeless person or beggar on the streets, or even asking for money. Usually we have old ladies that sell tissue paper for like $1, and I usually buy them as I could use them. However, a few months back during lunch with a coworker, a lady walked up to our table, showing us a card that she was deaf and was looking for donations. She then handed me a keychain. Flabbergasted as I had never experienced this before, I just decided to give her $5 and get it over with. However, upon seeing the $5, she waved her hand and pointed to the next sentence that the keychains were going for $10. At this point of time, I knew that I was about to get hustled, so I came up with a plan to fake having a super bad comprehension of English. I did not need the keychain, so I passed it back to her and replied to her in a mixture of broken English mixed in with Mandarin that I did not need it and that she could keep it, plus my $5. I knew she understood me, because she rejected me again and pointed to the $10 printed on the card. Obviously not deaf anymore. At this point, I was getting annoyed with her for disrupting my lunch break, so together with my colleague, who knew what I was doing, started conversing in a super random language, not even Mandarin at this point, and spouting gibberish till she just gave up and walked away, with my $5. I know what I did was kinda childish, but at that point of time my brain was fried from work and I just wanted a peaceful lunch. Thanks for reading. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.